Hey, this is Matt once again, and not sure this would be a long review because I did like the film, but it's one of those I liked it, but I'm not sure what I could all say about it. It's Murder on the Orient Express, film from 2017, starring and directed by Kenneth Branagh, which I thought he did a really good job as this Belgian detective, and it's based on, of course, the Agatha Christie story, which had quite a few adaptations in the past. And I had heard about the story, so I knew about the ending, which is one of the. It's not the film's fault. It's just one of those things. If you know the ending, then it kind of takes the mystery aspect out of it because you already know how it ends. So you're ahead of the movie. You're just waiting for the movie to catch up. Again, I don't know if that's not the movie's fault. It's just one of those drawbacks of making a movie based on a very old story. But he's a type of detective who's very good, very smart, a little bit eccentric. He reminds me a little bit of Monk, Tony Shalhoub's Monk, but not too clean or anything. Not with that, but like he wants things a little bit even, and like when people fix his tie, doesn't like imbalance of things. But he's really good at his job. And I thought Kenneth Branagh did a really good job. He was, in my opinion, the best part of the movie. And the beginning of the film shows him solving a case, and showing how smart he is. He sent this other case. He's like, I just want to relax and this and that. Well, at least now he gets on this train, the Orient Express, going through the mountains in the snow, and a lot of familiar faces on the train. For example, Penélope Cruz, Johnny Depp, who plays sort of a. He sounds like a New York gangster type of guy. Not saying that's what he is, but that's what he sounded like. Sadly, one of the better Johnny Depp performances I've seen in a while. Like compared to Dark Shadows or Alice in Wonderland or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I prefer this Johnny Depp. Willem Dafoe's in the film. Judi Dench is in the film. What's that guy? Josh Gad, which he was not nearly as annoying in this as, say, I think he was at Pixels. Not nearly. He was actually decent in this flick. He was not nearly annoying. Like, maybe that's the thing. Maybe you shouldn't do comedy. Just stick with movies like this. Daisy Ridley, who was in the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Michelle Pfeiffer, she's in the flick. So, some nice recognizable faces on the cast. Someone gets killed, and there's an avalanche, so the train is stuck in the snow. And while it's stuck in the snow, Kenneth Branagh is investigating this murder mystery, trying to figure out who did it. And that's why I'll go into the plot. And I thought it was pretty well filmed, some nice direction by Kenneth Branagh, certain sequences shot from like the top as people are walking in and out of a scene or they're conversing with each other about what's happening in this one room. Beauty shots. Granted, they're CGI enhanced, but it's not bad looking CG. But you just tell it's not like real. The backgrounds were not real. But yeah, I'm not gonna say they look bad or anything. And I could be a sucker for, again. I'm a sucker for a good murder mystery, whether it be a Columbo or I like the TV show Monk with Tony Shalhoub. I have all the seasons on DVD. I'm a sucker for that. But again, I knew the ending, so it was just sort of me, seeing how he comes up with how he reaches that conclusion, so to speak. And I thought there was a nice bit of a heart to it, because you find certain things that connect with the crime, and then another crime, and you find out the story about the other crime, and has some nice heart to it. I thought Kenneth Branagh showed some nice emotions during certain scenes, especially the ending. I thought there was some really nice pieces of music, like during the reveal of what happened and why it happened. I thought the cast members worked well with each other. I thought it was a very competent production. It was under 2 hours, so I thought I went at a pretty decent pace. I don't really have much problems with the flick, other than again, if you're going into this for action, it's not an action movie at all. It's not an action movie. There's like one little foot chase scene. There's one little scene at the beginning where at the beginning of the film he's solving this other case. The guy tries to run for it. He gets chased. He runs back and he gets knocked down. And then there's like a moment where Kenneth Branagh's character gets shot, and little stuff happens. But again, it's not an action film. It's not any of that sort. It's really a murder mystery. But I don't even know what else how to. This might be one of the shorter reviews I do, because I'm not sure how else to approach it without going to spoilers, which I'll start right now. The ending of the film, again, spoilers. Yeah, but if you read the book, or if you've even heard of the story, which I've never read the book, I've heard the story, is one of those cases where everyone did it. Except Kenneth Branagh, of course, but like pretty much everyone, Penélope Cruz, Willem Dafoe, uh, Josh Gad, Daisy Ridley, Michelle Pfeiffer, mainly led by Michelle Pfeiffer, they all killed Johnny Depp. So yeah, Johnny Depp is not in the film too much, but they each took their turn stabbing him. Now, why did they do this? Well, I thought they did sort of a nice job of establishing how there was this case from back in the day that someone went in and stole this little girl, and the little girl, the parents paid the ransom, and the little girl was murdered, and you found out that murderer was Johnny Depp. So, because of that murder, a lot of things had almost a ripple effect, where the mom died and her unborn kid died. The father committed suicide. Um, there was one sister who felt really bad about it. There was what would have been the grandmother, Michelle Pfeiffer. Of course, she felt bad about it. This other woman who was accused of it and falsely accused of it. Willem Dafoe was sort of in love with her, and she was related to someone, a few other people, and they got fucked over. And like the lawyer who his life was ruined because he was forced to go after this girl. Josh Gad was the son of that lawyer. Like a lot of people were affected in this ripple effect. And Kenneth Branagh has this nice emotional scene where it's like, this is right. But at the same time, uh, all the times before he felt this is right, this is wrong, that's how it is. But by the end of the film, he understands why they did that, and he does let him go. He does let him go. He's like, for the first time in my life, I just have to deal with the imbalance that things are not just right and wrong, and he's a guy who hates imbalance. So that's the thing, is that usually in a murder mystery, you find the culprit, and then they go to jail, and there's a certain like satisfaction, like, oh, he solved the mystery and he got his man, or he got his woman, or he got his. That's usually the satisfaction with a murder mystery, and this is a story that you can't get that. So I think there should be some people be like, well, what was the point of this mystery when, even when it's solved, there's not really any I don't want to say resolution, but there's no comeuppance or anything. But at the same time, I get why in the story. I get why. I can understand Kenneth Branagh's rationale on it. And then that's the thing is that being as a guy who didn't read the story from beginning to end, and whether how faithful it is or not, I don't know. But I thought it was a story that was well told for what it is. It was a story well told. This guy find out this mystery and then find out this really sad thing that happened, and him, he was able to solve it. He's a smart guy, and then he could have turned them all in. He didn't. He let them go. And just sort of a nice story on the man himself. This character that Agatha Christie had created. That idea, I thought Kenneth Branagh did a really good job with. And then at the end, they reference, like, he gets off the train and someone comes, "We need your help. There was a death on the Nile," which I guess that's another story. Now, this film actually did very well at the box office, so there's talks of another movie on that. I'd be curious about it because I know nothing about that story. And I'm guessing it's not going to be the same ending, so it would be him finding, just I like Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. The sequel I thought was a little bit of a letdown, but I still didn't mind the sequel. I just didn't like it as much as the first one. But I still didn't mind it. So I'd be curious to see another movie like this. But I don't know, it might be one of those that they say there might be a sequel, but then years down the road it just gets dropped. Could very well be. But overall, I did enjoy this flick. I thought it kept me interested. I like the cast members. Kept me interested. Like, how is he going to figure this out? Figure this out. The acting was on point. Thought the score fit the film very well. I thought I had some nice heartfelt moments to it, emotional moments. Overall, it was, if I found it for cheap for like $5 or something, sure, I'd pick it up for my collection. And add in my collection. I would not mind watching the film again down the road. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you on the next one. Later.